Hi, welcome to this week's Whiteboard Wednesday. My name is Francisco Slavin. I am a security consultant with Rapid7. And today I want to talk about focusing on default account findings, especially in the early stages of building out a vulnerability management program. Getting a vulnerability management program off the ground can be a very challenging task. In addition to various technical difficulties you may have, you also have an entire workflow and life cycle that you're trying to establish and an entire team of stakeholders who are also going to be new to doing vulnerability management. So within that framework, there are several common challenges that I see people hit on a regular basis in those early days of vulnerability management. And I want to talk to you about why, instead of looking at the big picture right away and trying to solve all of your problems at once, you can do some targeted analysis for a finding like default account findings, and those can be much easier to use so that you're less constrained by technical roadblocks and you're more able to operationalize your program and get your stakeholders engaged doing what needs to be done to get items remediated. So 3 common problems that I see people run into. They have difficulty explaining the significance of a particular finding. That is especially common for esoteric vulnerabilities that may be buried deep within a code base. And another common challenge is being able to reproduce those vulnerabilities. Again, for particularly complex vulnerabilities, just being able to replay what the scanner did may be a challenge. So when you're dealing with the remediation stakeholders, you want to make sure you are not sending them on a wild goose chase, because that can sour your relationship with those stakeholders early on if you end up causing them to waste some time chasing something that was not a real vulnerability. And once you've gotten to that stage, sometimes certain vulnerabilities can be very difficult to remediate. Again, it depends on who you've got involved, it depends on the complexity of that vulnerability, but in those early stages, these are all potential speed bumps or roadblocks for you, when what you really want to focus on is getting people engaged, getting people working, and getting things remediated. So for a default account finding, all of these roadblocks disappear. It is generally very easy to explain why a default account is significant. Everybody understands what an account is, everybody's logged into a computer, and people generally understand different privilege levels. They get that a common user may not have the privilege level of an administrator. So being able to communicate why a particular account is significant is usually very easy regardless of the stakeholders you're working with. Additionally, it's very easy to validate the finding that your scanner is giving you is something that's a legitimate finding. With a default account, you would get all of the information you need. You get a username, a password, potentially a key if you need some sort of a token for that authentication system. Very easy to reproduce, very easy to confirm that that is a real issue and avoid sending a sysadmin down the wrong path, wasting their time. Additionally, these are generally very easy for your remediation stakeholders to fix. So options usually include change the password on that default account or simply disable that default account entirely. So at every stage of the life cycle, these are very easy to deal with. And because they're such high significance findings, that gives you an easy win early on. And when you're building a new program, having those easy wins is going to make your life much easier as you move into the later stages as you mature your program. That's it for this week's Whiteboard Wednesday. We'll talk to you next week.